Chinese characters are pretty cool, aren't they? I have no idea how they managed to cram thousands of them into a QWERTY keyboard, but well, actually I looked it up and the most common method involves spelling out the word in Pinyin, so the representation of the Chinese pronunciation in the Latin alphabet, and getting a bunch of suggestions from which you pick the desired one. That's one way to do this, I guess. But anyway, one thing's for sure, Chinese characters evolved a lot over time. For example, a couple of months ago, I found this image on Wikipedia and it blew my mind. It shows the changes in this character, which is the word for tiger. I personally love the older versions, as they are literally images resembling a tiger. Nowadays, it's not really the same, is it? Well then, today I want to show you some more evolutions of Chinese characters in order to try to find the answer as to why this is happening. Why have Chinese characters become so much more simplified throughout the years? And maybe, just maybe, we'll explore a certain dark future of Chinese as well. So, as you probably know, the origins of the modern Chinese alphabet lie in pictograms created thousands of years ago. And the fact that Chinese speakers today can recognize many characters from over 3000 years ago is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Look at the evolution of the character for elephant. If you can imagine a drawing of one turned sideways, that was basically it. Also, here's the early character for dragon. Now, the first version of a character that you can see right after the original drawing is most probably the Oracle Bone script. Looking back at the last two examples, they are the currently highlighted ones. What's cool about this era of the Chinese writing system is that it was engraved on small animal bones or turtle shells. Just imagine people of ancient times sitting on stones and carefully inscribing newly created characters on a piece of bone. As I've said, it's absolutely mind-blowing to me. Okay, so here's the full evolution of the character for elephant. Enjoy! And here's the animation for dragon. As you can see, the modern versions are way more simplified than their predecessors. Keep it in mind while we go over the next bunch. Speaking of which, this is the current character for sky, but its origins are a bit different as they involve a human figure. You can definitely see how it evolved. Now, let me bring your attention to this version. It is what's called the seal script. You can see it again in our next character. It means blood, and I'm unsure as to its original representation. I mean, it looks like a goblet filled with blood. I mean, yeah, this is probably it, as blood was sometimes used for sacrificial purposes in ancient times. Anyway, back to the seal script. Well, in my opinion, it's the next most important script after the Oracle Bone. It was popularized in the second half of the first millennium BC, so we are jumping a couple centuries forward. It was usually written on bamboo or stones. Its main feature are the curved, rounded, but a bit more simplified and organized strokes. Its literal name in Chinese means decorative engraving script, as this was what it was originally used for way back in the day. So now I present to you the full evolution of the character for sky. And here we go with the one for blood. Before the Chinese writing system achieved its final form, at least for now, the third major step, I'd say, was the clerical script. Let me show it off with an example. This is the word for person. This is an important one, wouldn't you say? We can observe its evolution in the most stages so far. And here's the clerical script version. As you can see, it's not far removed from the modern version. And that's what the clerical script was all about. A transition to a more rectangular design and less rounded strokes with the intention to make the characters easier and faster to write. Lastly, this is the character for I. It didn't evolve a lot from the seal script, and that's why I couldn't find how it exactly looked in the clerical one, but you get the idea, right? This is probably my favorite evolution, by the way. I love the bronze inscription. So cool. Either way, the clerical script was used mostly in the first quarter of the first millennium AD, so we've finally jumped eras. Since then, the Chinese characters haven't changed that much visually, and that's why the clerical script is still sometimes used in things like ads and banners. And finally, please enjoy these animations of our last two characters. For person, and for I. And we come back to the original question. What sparked this simplification of Chinese characters literally over 2 millennia ago? I think you understand this trend right now, but is there a reason for that? Well, from studying different languages, we can deduce that over centuries, people will start doing what's easy, or at least easier. This includes both speaking and writing, dropping vowels, transforming consonants and obsolete letters. The language always evolves. But, and it's a big but, maybe, just maybe, we can associate this radical simplification around the times of the clerical script with the early days of bureaucracy. Why? Well, some scholars infer that the catalyst for this change were prisoners working for the state, who basically had to write, copy and rewrite a large number of official documents every day. You know, old school style, by hand. Makes sense, right? The simplified characters and straight lines would help them save their precious time. This theory comes from the Chinese name for the clerical script, where the first syllable, li, means prisoner or slave. So yeah, that's it. That's one of the most probable and interesting possibilities. However, there is a dark future that can hit the Chinese language. Basically, remember the Chinese QWERTY keyboard? Turns out that giving kids 24-hour access to this keyboard layout, where you initialize the search for a character by typing its romanized pronunciation, may not have been the greatest of ideas. Yeah, supposedly Chinese children forget, or in some cases don't even learn, the correct stroke order for handwriting Chinese words. Will the original Chinese characters go obsolete after thousands of years? Only time will tell. But for now, let's enjoy the existing history and beauty of Chinese characters and use the old school methods from time to time. Thank you for watching.